Unwind episode 41, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Gary Rogers. Today, got a dear friend of mine who's actually going to join us in a couple minutes. I know that I always make this speech that they are in the back trying to get settled. He literally is. He's in the background trying to get right. Is my boy, John Dilo. That's the short, though. It's like DiLorenzo. And then I think it's even crazier than that. I think it's hella crazy. But we'll ask him so you can find out. Now, this dude has been pressing you with his talents for literally, it seems like forever. His balance game is on point. His style is really good. Every part of him I enjoyed, except for one I had to roast him on because he's my friend and that's what I do. It's just been amazing. So without further ado, if you don't know who he is, or if you do, ladies, gentlemen, skateboarders around the world, John Dilo. What's going on, John? How's it going?
What up, Gary? How you doing?
Family. I'm chilling. I can't complain.
Dude, I'm good. Just was skating a little bit ago, so I'm like a little fried from the sun, but I'm cooling in my house now.
Was it just like a skate park session?
Yeah, dude, I've been like hurt pretty much all year, so I just started being able to skate like a month ago. So I've just been like on this skate park only diet pretty much.
Yeah. You got hurt again, or are you talking about the injury?
No, it sounds worse than it is, but it is really annoying. I have this like bone bruise in my femur, so it's like in my knee.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a heel bruise where it just takes forever to go away. But I can kind of skate. But they were telling me to chill for the first couple months because they were like, dude, you can make it so much worse if you just like ignore it. So I chilled for like 4.5 months, and then I've just been feeling like a lot better these past few weeks. So I've been like skating parks, like mellow shit, like Cherry and stuff.
Yeah. Making sure you get out there just to like kind of stay up on it.
Yeah, dude, I've been losing my mind.
Don't let the muscles atrophy and or at all. Okay.
Yeah, but nothing crazy. Just, you know how it is.
Yeah, so when did that happen? When did the bone bruise kind of occur?
Pretty much right when we finished filming for this like hours video that came out. I seriously finished filming maybe like 2 or 3 weeks into like the deadline. My knee was feeling really sore. Like I would wake up every morning and my knee would feel like I skated all night or something. And I was like, this is so weird. I feel like I just had a session, but it's, you know, it'd be like 8 a.m. And I'm like, it just felt really irritated. And then once we got filming done and I chilled, it like all just hit me and my knee felt really like stiff and like painful. And I was like, oh fuck, I think something's wrong. Then I got an MRI and stuff, and it turned out to just not be any like soft tissue stuff. It was just like this bone bruise in my knee that looked like a hurricane. It was like this big.
It looked like a hurricane. Like, oh, hell no. Nah.
Dude, yeah. If I showed you the MRI, you'd be like, what, bro? It looks like you were looking at it like a weather radar.
That's actually intense. John, where does the story start for you? Obviously, we know a lot of people might know Florida, but where does the story start for you?
Like, where did I start skating?
No, where are you born? Where are you from?
Dude, I was born in New York,
really?
Ironically. Yeah, I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and my family moved to Jupiter, Florida when I was 3.
Okay.
So
you from New York? Because that's long. That's like, too long. 3 is long, bro. You from NY. You need a pair of Timbs and a fitted hat and a bacon, egg, and cheese, my for real.
It's like it feels even weirder saying that because I think you go to like preschool at 3 or something. I don't know. You start going to like some sort of like social like school stuff at like that age, but I started doing all that stuff in Florida. So like I don't have any recollection of New York at all.
Okay. So nobody got a permanent record of you in New York at all except for the doctor's office. It's the only people that got your birth certificate is the only place that documents New York, right? Okay, that's good. As long as you didn't go to school 1 year there, then it doesn't count. Yeah. It's wherever you went to school the most is where you're really. That's what I say. If you went to school the most in that place, that's where you're from. You feel me?
Yeah.
So,
no, I know what you mean.
So, damn, born in New York. That's actually crazy. Moves to Jupiter, Florida. Do you remember your earliest memories of moving away? Or do you even remember, or do you just remember your life is just like, I was in Jupiter?
I kind of remember when we moved, but it's like it is kind of like a blur because I was so young, and I made a lot of trips to New York every year
Mhm.
up until I was like 13 or 14 because my parents like split. But then when all growing up from like when we moved till around that time, we would go to New York like every summer, every winter, like holidays and stuff. So I do have like a lot of memories being there, but we lived in Florida as far as I remember.
That's fire. So Jupiter is how far from Miami or anything? How far is that?
It's like 2 hours, two
2
hours
hours.
north of Miami.
I love driving in Florida. It feels like there's no rules. I'm not gonna lie. It's actually very enjoyable. So that 2 hours will feel like nothing if you got the right
Yeah,
car.
no, it's like 2 hours, but you're not stopping the whole way, you know?
Exactly. Zooming, booming. Now let's kind of get into it, which where you referenced it earlier. When did skateboarding enter John Dilo's life? How old were you?
Um, I feel like it's weird because I remember when I started being around skating, but I didn't really start skating. So I guess my older brother wanted to skate because Tony Hawk Pro Skater was like, that was the shit. So everybody
100%.
wanted to skate.
Yeah.
So, and my brother's like 2 years older than me. So he had homies that were maybe already skating or something. He wanted a board. And my mom always had this thing because it's me and I have two other brothers. So she's like, "Oh, I'm not going to get something for one of them unless they can all share." So she would be like, "Oh, if he wants a skateboard, then like I got to get all of them skateboards because I'm not
Time.
about to be like getting one of them something."
And
So
dealing with
I
that.
just remember some holiday. Might have been, it was like random. It wasn't even like a holiday you would get gifts like that. But my mom got us skateboards, and I was like, "What?" I wasn't even interested, you know. And then my older brother was, and I was probably 11 at this time, and I thought skating was crazy because I'm like, bro, you want to do what you do in the video game, like in real life, you're tripping. Like that sounds
You've lost
crazy.
your shit. You're
Yeah,
smoked.
I
You're
was like,
tripping.
bro, this is a game, you know. Like we're not gonna go do Tony Hawk Pro Skater shit. Uh, but I think what changed it for me was some kids in my neighborhood that I was close with started skating too, and then ironically, like my brother's friends like fell out of it, and then my friends like fell into it. So it was sort of like, oh, you want to come hang with us? Like we're gonna skate in like so and so's driveway, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I have a skateboard. So then it turned into that, and then yeah, I would skate a lot in like our driveway, and like it was really like random neighborhood stuff for the first couple of years. So I was probably somewhere from 11 to maybe 13ish, like somewhere between there was when I really started like actually skating and being like, oh, there is like a subculture to this, and this is bigger than just, there's skate shops, there's skate videos. Like I was learning all this stuff so fast, but before that I just thought it was like a video game.
Who's teaching all that stuff? Like that there is the skate shop
um
and that there is skate videos. Besides like seeing the one
so
clips on the game.
yeah, so I had this one friend, his name's Sean. He was like the real catalyst to making me skate because we were like best friends through like uh like first grade, all through elementary school, we were like friends. So around like fifth grade was when he started skating. And then that was around the time I coincidentally got a board.
Yeah.
But he was like homies with all these older kids that skated. So they were
Yeah.
probably like 15, 16. And I would go hang with them. But I was like the shy kid that didn't really know shit and didn't know how to skate. But he was pretty good already. He could like do some kick flips and like he knew how to like kind of skate because he was with older kids. But I would always roll with him. And they would like put me on to shit. They knew about like skateboard magazines. They knew about the shops and like they knew about brands. And it was like, I remember the first time I ever went to the skate park, uh, dude, I'll never forget this shit. Cause I had like a blind board, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And some kids are like, oh, where'd you get that board? And I was like, oh, at like the surf shop in town. They're like, dude, have you seen Baker 3? And I'm like, nah, I don't know what that is. And they're like, oh, well,
Oh,
they're like, you need to go get a Baker board, like a Brian Herman board or an Andrew Reynolds board. Like, that's the shit. And I remember being like, okay, like that. Like, I just remember seriously being like, almost like not jumped, but fools like threw info at me. Like, oh, this is what you need to be on.
they jumped
Like,
you. They jumped you with
yeah,
the cool shit. They was like, bro.
yeah, for sure. And they weren't even like older. They were just kids that were at the skate park like all the time. So they were like they knew what was up. So I was like, okay. I felt like I was put on quick because kids that were around me were super indulgent in it, and
Mm-hmm.
some were older. And I just remember learning really quick about like, wait, there's magazines. Wait, dudes get paid to do this. Wait, there's like pros that are from here that moved to California. Like, I feel like it all like took over my life once I learned that there was like a culture, you know?
So to think about it, what were you and Sean's interests before you guys got into skate? You said first through fifth, so it's like this 4 years you guys knowing each other. What are you doing as a kid? Is it sports? Is it? I always like want to kind of like learn. Like I asked like Paul Rodriguez the same thing. Like what was the predecessor for skateboarding, or just
I
being a
feel
kid
like
running
we were
around
just like
picking nose?
just little kids playing video games all night, having sleepovers, like
Yeah.
just being like, you know, like I have two other brothers, so he would come over to my house and we would just Friday to Monday just like stay up all night and just eat candy, be little kids. I don't think there was really like we didn't really have like stuff we did aside from just like bullshit, like little kid shit, you know.
I
Always
s-
trying to get into something.
I see all these humans when you go to like a festival, and you're like, yo, what do they do every day if they're not
Yeah,
like what is regular life now? I think it's just like texting memes to each other because people don't know how to talk anymore. So I think I get confused about what the humans are even doing anymore, my boy. So now
dude, yeah, being a little kid
you've
now
kind of
sounds
figured out
crazy.
skateboarding. You realize it has its own ecosystem. Magazines, videos, pros, money for doing the thing. You know what I'm saying? So does that like get you to be like, okay, I want to be one of those, or you just kind of like, let me enjoy myself? I don't feel like that's possible. What's in your mind after you figure that out?
Dude, I was like a super like fly on the wall kid. Like I didn't want to be called on for nothing. I didn't want to have to present nothing. I didn't want to have to
Damn.
talk to anybody. I was like that kid, you know, like real shy. And I just I saw kids around me that were good at skating because they all started skating before me. I was definitely like the late bloomer of like the group of kids I was with, but I was the only one that stuck to it. So it was like I remember, dude, I'll never forget this shit because this shit was so funny. So fifth grade, I think it was like the last day of school. You know, it's just school's out, summer's coming, teachers just give you some bullshit to do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So they were like, it was like a 5 question little thing, and they were like, oh, we're gonna look back at this like when you make it to middle school, and like, you know, we're gonna do what I guess small town shit. You go back to like elementary school you went to, but they
Yeah.
want us to fill out like what we want to be when we grew up and all this. And I remember so many kids that were skating and were better than me, and they were like, I want to be a pro skater. I want to be a pro skater because that was like the popping thing at the time.
Of
And I
course.
remember being like so insecure. I was like, I can't. These dudes want to be that. I can't be that. I remember putting down on this piece of paper like, I want to get good at skating.
You
That
just
was
put
all
that.
I
You
put.
wrote that down.
Yeah,
I
I just
want to
wanted to get
get
good at
good.
skating.
Wow. I
Yeah,
want to learn this shit. I want to learn it.
yeah, because kids were so much better than me, and I was like, damn, all these kids are gonna be pro skaters. Like that's what they want. I was like, I can't be that. So I was just like, I just want to get good. I want to be like them and like be good at
That's actually a very honest way to look at it.
it.
When you say good or better than you at this time, what tricks are they doing? Like, are they just more skilled? Like, they understand how to drop in, or are these dudes actually like skating the rails at the park? Are they getting tech? What's their ability in you know before middle school?
Dude, this kid Sean, I'm telling you about, he could have been like on some prodigy shit. Because looking back, thinking back about the tricks I would see him do, it's actually crazy. Because we were like 11 years old, and I had a shitty little flat bar, and we had like little X Factor ramps, like just little stuff you'd throw in your yard, you know. And
Yeah.
he was like three flipping out of the X Factor ramp, and like he couldn't do it on flat, but he could like fling it out of the ramp and land it. And he would like kick flip backboard the flat bar. I just remember seeing him do these tricks, being like, dude, like thinking like, oh, this is just what like this is normal to be like this able, this
Hell no,
good
no,
at
no,
it at this
jit.
point. I was like, dude, but I mean, this is a flat bar that's probably like this high. You know, we put it on the lowest setting, but he was like kickflip board sliding it. But like, bro, when you're a kid, that's scary. That's crazy.
It's
And I
weird.
was thinking back to it, like when I was, you know, maybe 15, being like, damn, Sean was like crazy good when we were little kids.
So now, after you write this quote that you just want to get better at skateboarding, obviously as summer goes down, somebody in the chat said, Hebrew Blunt says, also John got that 1980s Larry Bird look going right now, and it looks good. Shout out. You do
Yeah,
look like Larry Bird right now. That's
I got a
actually fire.
crazy game.
Larry Bird is fire. Holy shit, because I love Larry Bird, bro. He literally, oh my God, he punked black dudes all through the 80s and just won championships and did incredible shit and saved the league before Michael Jordan even got there. Shout out to Larry Bird, bro. So, you say you want to get good at skateboarding. Does this come to fruition? Are you starting to learn? Are you starting to get better with the time? Are you keeping up or catching up to any of these dudes that are these amazing guys that are in your age group and in your school? Like, do you start getting better?
What happened was,
That sentence
can you hear
is
me?
crazy. No. Every time I hear what happened was, it's
No,
crazy sentence.
so because I mean, it's nothing crazy, but it was like traumatizing to me as a little kid. So my homie Sean, um, he told me one day we were like, we went to two different middle schools. Like we had like some weird zoning thing where I live. So he went to a different school than me. And then he hit me up one day and he was like, yo, I'm moving to Oregon. And I was like, what? No, you're not.
Nah,
Like, that's
son.
crazy.
Childhood friends moving is the worst shit ever, bro.
Bro, this is like before we just had a house phone. He called me on the house phone and was like, yo, I'm moving to Oregon like tomorrow or something crazy. And I was like, what? No way. So I remember, dude, I'll never forget like a sad movie type shit. My mom, I was like, yo, you got to drive me by Sean's house. He says he's moving and like, I don't think he's moving. So I think like 2 or 3 days went by and we drove past and like, yeah, just like gone. Everything, he was just gone. That full up and dipped. Like, I was like, dude, what? And that shit like broke me. So now I'm like skating alone kind of because all the friends I had made were through him, but they were like older kids that
Yeah,
I
the
didn't
older
really
heads,
know.
yeah.
So he was like, there was a couple kids in the neighborhood. I remember like there were some other dudes I would see around that were around my age, but everybody at this point from middle school on, high school got real bad. Skating was like real whack in high school. Like you were like shunned, you know, you were like, oh, what? You still skate type shit. But like middle
Damn.
school was still some kids skated, some kids didn't. But once he moved, it was just me alone in my driveway. And I was just like, all right, this is what I'm doing. And we had a instant messenger, like AIM, and we would send each other. He got my like AIM handle or whatever and was like, oh, I'm gonna send you like tricks I learned. So he would go to the skate parks and send me tricks, and I'd be like, dude, I got to get better because he's like getting better, you know?
Yeah.
But I didn't have nobody to film me. So this was like the catalyst for me to start going to the skate park because my dad used to always ask me, like, oh, you want to go to the skate park? I was like, nah, dude, that sounds so scary. Like older kids are going to like beat me up or something. Like I had like this weird movie vision of older kids like going to the park and like bullying you. Like that's what I saw skating as when I was
What
like
gave you
this
that?
little
What'd you
kid.
watch? What'd you watch?
I don't know, dude. I think it was like I don't know if I saw anything. It was just
It's
maybe
just in your
what I
head, like one of those
classified.
things that happens. Like you just automatically put that in your head that it was just.
Yeah, I mean, dude. Also, this is like 2000. This is like 2005, 2006. So I don't think I was that off about how skaters behave.
That's
Like,
true.
but I just think like I didn't know what the scene was going to be like at the local skate park. I was like, dude, I'm not good and I'm going to get like roasted, right? So I was like, bro, nah. So the first 2 years I skated like 1 year with probably with before Sean moved. And then once he moved, I skated by myself in my driveway for like a year. And I low key got really good at flat ground
Yeah.
because I could like just do tricks at like 12 and 13, like to be able to like switch flip and stuff. Like kids couldn't really do that, you know?
Yeah.
So, um, what was I gonna say? So yeah, we started like he started sending me tricks. He would like half cab a double set at his skate park. I was like, bro, like I gotta get good, bro. Like this is crazy.
He's
So
just leaving
I,
you.
yeah, like he left me high and dry. So I started going to the skate park. I like conquered my fear, went to the skate park, and I also this is another thing I'll never forget. So like I could like I could like ollie pretty high, and I could like do tricks that little kids my age couldn't do. You know, like you grew up in a skate park, you could fly out of a ramp, and you could
Yeah.
like axle stall, but you couldn't like switch flip or like maybe grind a box. You know,
Exactly.
so
Just those little things are missing. Those little technical
it's weird
abilities are missing.
because I remember the first day I went to a skate park, I met this kid and he was like, oh, you should like air up this with me or like drop in this. And I was like, dude, no way. That sounds crazy. But I could like Smith grind the box and they were all looking at me. All the other kids my age were like, dude, what? How can you get up there? You know? So it was like this weird missing link of like kids my age and like how I started skating compared to how they started
To
skating.
skating. Yeah. Little
And
different tidbits.
yeah, but that was ultimately how I ended up, you know, meeting what became like our Florida Days crew, and like a bunch of dudes that were locals there. Zion is how I met all these dudes, because I started going there and then I just never left. I would just go every day as soon as I could, whether it was after school or however I could get there, I would get there. And I would be there nonstop always. This park, Abacoa Skate Park, it's like the only decent park in Jupiter.
That's actually wild to think about how little kid skating went. Like when you did know the homie that can nollie tray or do anything, like when you're young, you're like, okay, he's pro. Like that dude is so much different versus when we're all airing out of the boxes or all airing out of, each ramp, like fatty to flatties and going over cones and stuff. That one kid that can crook shove was just like, hold on, bro. Where did you get that ability from? Like when you're kids, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
you're kind of getting this more technical nuance about you. It seems like everybody else is using the skate park. You're not dropping in. You're not skating any transition. You're like, yo, I'm over here. I got my flat ground game on point. It's good. I'm figuring this out. Got a good little solid crew. I'm not alone anymore. Sean's in Oregon, just becoming incredible. I'm trying to keep up. So now that you found like this stable place and a good crew, what now happens next? Do they go, hey, do you want to go out and film? Is there what was life like? What's the next step in these adjustments?
So I met my homie who still, crazily enough, we skate all the time. He works in skateboarding. I don't know if you know Derek Lancy. He's the sales manager at Girl and Chocolate.
Yeah. I don't know him personally, but I know exactly why have I
So
heard that name so many times.
Derek is the first actual, like, so I went to middle school, like whatever, 6th grade, 7th grade. I think we met the first day of like 7th grade. Our schedules were all fucked up. We didn't have like a third period class or something weird. So like we end up in like the cafeteria and everybody's just like, just sit here and do nothing the first couple of days of school. And no, it was the library. So we went to the library and this kid comes running up to me and he's like, dude, there's skateboard magazines here. And I've never seen this person in my life. And I'm like, word? Like, that's what, like, sick, cool. Like, and he's like, dude, you should come look at these skateboard magazines. And it was Derek Glancy. And so he was like super friendly to me because he saw my fit. He saw like how I looked. He was like, oh, this is a skater. He's going to be excited to see me. He could just sit here and read.
Do we have the holes in the shoes?
Probably he was super good, yeah, but he was better than me at that point in time for sure. He was not.
Did you have
maybe, but not like. No, I probably had some like big SXLs on or something. They might have been fresh. I had some school shoes type shit, so they might have been like maybe. But
school shoes, I remember that. Put
yeah, bro.
To the side. You don't rip them till Christmas break.
Yeah, exactly. yeah, for sure. So, yeah, dude. So I met Derek, and like right when Sean moves away, I meet Derek, and Derek's like basically the replacement homie of how Sean was to me, because he knew all the older kids and he knew all about. He was more knowledgeable in skating than Sean was, and me and Derek are the same age, but he was around all these older kids, and like he knew about. I remember him telling me about Transworld videos, and him sending me on AIM. He sent me like a LimeWire thing to like download a Transworld video that just dropped. And I was like, what even is this?
I wouldn't trust a LimeWire link ever, bro. I would hate those. If I didn't go search it myself, even then. Do you remember LimeWire? I ruined a lot of computers with LimeWire, son.
For sure, dude. I mean, all I'm saying is this fool knew how to like find new shit. He was sending me stuff that I was like, wait, what? Transworld's not a company? Why are they making skate videos? Like, what is all this? And he would like put me on to everything. He put me on to like, oh, you got to go out and film. And like, this is what crews do. This is what like homies in local areas with skate shops and like all this, you go out with your homies and you light up spots and you film video parts. And he put me onto that because he put me on to SkateFL, which is like the first South Florida video I ever saw, which was Brad Cromer and all those guys. They like made a homie video, but I never would have known about any of that unless Derek showed me, because he was probably at the premiere of it. But when I got put on, it was after it already came out. So I was like, what? These are like dudes from our area making like what looks like a professional video, like a full production. To me, it was like a fully flared. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
this
exactly.
is crazy.
Exactly. Like those Transworld videos are the most memorable shits. Like they're so from back to front, amazing. You know.
Oh yeah, the Transworld videos, but I'm talking about the local videos. Like
Oh,
Skate
the
FL was
FL.
a
Oh,
local
well, the
video.
Skate FL videos are actually like that good. You're saying too.
Yeah, that was like their crew. That was what they called
Oh.
all their videos, Skate FL. So it was like they dropped videos, and I was like, bro, these are like crazy. Like the skating's crazy. The dudes are like, you would think they were pros. You know, it was like Brad Cromer when he was like 18 years old. So you're watching this stuff, and you're like, this guy's back nose blending hubbas. Like this is insane. This is what dudes. This is what crews do. You know.
Yeah.
So,
So
that yeah, Derek put me on
with
to
that
to what.
knowledge, are you like? Because you said you're kind of like the fly on the wall. So you're not finna go up to nobody and be like, "Yo, like, are you guys filming? Like, what happens to you?" Because you're in a lot of those early videos. You have parts from
Yeah.
back in the day. So did you start to get the confidence as you got better, or what? What's that?
Well, I think I just started meeting kids at the skate park, and there was kids that would make like skate park montages, and we would like meet, and they would like film me do a trick, and then it was like Mikey Glover. That was like how we met, you know, because he would
Okay.
make skate park montages on his YouTube,
Yep.
and that was maybe right around the time he would go street skate sometimes, and like we all sort of like had this common interest of wanting to street skate, and there was all this energy in the scene because of Skate FL dropping videos.
Mhm.
So all the kids were like, dude, we need to do this. We need to make one of these, you know? So that's what became Florida Days, was literally off the hype of these older crews. Like Steak too. He dropped Spread the Good. There was all these videos coming out that were like, to us, like pro level. And we were like, oh, we got to like do this. This is what crews do. This is what, so we all sort of collaborated as far as like, we just had a common interest, and Mikey filmed and he skated, but he was like filming skate park montages, and that was how all of us got close, was because we just knew each other from the skate park, and then we'd go out. So and so's mom would drive us to West Palm Beach, drop us off all day, shit like that, you know.
Damn, bro. The days that you start the crew that make the video, that takes me back as well. So now you get a couple of these local videos under your belt. The premieres are decent. There's coverage on these. This is like early YouTube days. I remember when the Florida Days videos used to come out. You guys are getting support and backing for these videos. Like websites are uploading the links for them. They're on skate videos. I remember seeing that. You know, that's like how a lot of people. What was it like? What's the first or second one that people found Zion?
The second one popped off. The second one was when we were filming it, I knew Zion was on some shit.
Exactly.
Because he was doing grown man tricks at like 13. You're like, wait, hold on. The whole game is going to trip on this shit.
Yeah. So it's Florida Days 2 drops and he takes off. You're still doing well. What is the reaction to you though with those videos dropping? Like what are people saying? What are now people saying about you after you have some footage in these things?
I think I mean locally people were psyched on what we were doing, you know. Locally it was like we knew it was gonna, after the first one we were really young, we were like learning tricks, going out filming it that weekend. Like we were on that, you know, like when you're 17, 18, you're just you pick up tricks like nothing when you want it that bad, and you think of spots and you know everything around you. But the second one was when like Zion especially, like everybody sort of came into their skating more confidently, and I feel like I knew a bit more about my strengths, and I feel like people locally started to notice, and it definitely, I started getting maybe some hookups. Like I had some shop flow sponsors and stuff, but nothing like, it didn't change overnight for me, for sure. It wasn't until I came out to California that like I felt like there was a different perception, because I don't know if you can relate to this, but it's like, bro, you could do the gnarliest thing where you're from, and you could go to LA and do something like a third of as gnarly, but like the team managers and the people that are seeing it, they know the spot. They know that what you're doing is relatable. So, because I remember getting out here and being like, doing tricks and thinking like, oh, the spots are so good, and like this shit's like, you know, I'm just skating, and sending out tapes, and people would actually get back to me being like, whoa, that's a crazy trick there or whatever. And I was like, bro, the stuff I did in Florida was way harder for me to do. Yeah, you're like, bro, that thing is way bigger than that. Like you would always think like, you're like, bro, like you don't know what I've been through out there. So this is like fun, you know?
See, but that's the thing though. It is those memorable, like I know I think that's what Weekend struggles with, bro. Is like they have all those dudes are some of the sickest dudes in skateboarding right now, right? Like that Weekend crew of dudes, but all their spots are like not known because they
Yeah.
found them all, you know. So
Yeah.
they pick up their company with all like everything around it, like the skits and the antics and stuff like that. So for you, you're like, yo, I was in Florida battling like this spot, this bump to rails way gnarlier, this gap is way crazier, this manual pads. Come to LA, you come skate the simple, nice, clean cut, constructed manual pad or table, and this is like, damn, you went there and did this. You're like, hey, what do you mean, bro? Like, so you moved to California at what age?
I was 18. I just graduated from high school. My high school girlfriend broke up with me, and then Steak
Damn,
was
oh
like,
shit, damn, son.
I was like, dude, yeah, I was in like this
Sweetheart.
head spin, and it all happened so fast. Oh, Steak's in the chat now. Yeah. So Steak moved. He told me, he was like, yo, this day, June something. He's like, I'm moving to California if you want to drive with me. I was like, yep, I'm
I'm out.
out. But I didn't move then. I went out with him, did the drive, stayed with him for like a month, and then got home. And then I told my parents, like, yo, I'm gonna go back. And I ain't coming back.
I ain't coming back here. It doesn't feel like nothing's here, you know. So you go.
It was also like I knew like there was other people like me out there where, yeah, maybe it's another thing you could relate to, but there was all my homies skated, we all skated, and like obviously Zion was doing Zion, and like there's some dudes from the crew that like became something bigger from the videos and stuff, but ultimately I could tell all my friends were sort of like they were just getting on with their life. They were like meeting girls, starting to go to parties, all this stuff. And like, that was all fine. And we all still skated, but no one had like what I had. And I knew I wanted something out of skating, or like I wanted to give skating everything I had. And I was like, I need to meet people like me. So I felt like I knew getting to California, I would meet other skaters that were like me and would help me push myself to get better. Because I felt like nobody around me, I was the one pushing myself to get better. No one around me, because Zion already was, I don't know what he was on. He was on Camp Woodward TV or whatever. He was like,
he was on television and shit. Yeah.
yeah, he was like just out. He was a little prodigy that got picked up and just carried along to wherever. And we were all super happy the way it was going for him. But I knew for me, it wasn't going to be that way. And I had to like surround myself with others that were like me, you know. In California, that was the answer.
Damn. So how was that first month?
What in LA?
In LA. What was that? What would you rate that first month before whatever made you go back home?
Oh, dude, intimidating. I remember that was when like Cherry was. You'd pull up to Cherry and it would be like the whole Element team, like Evan Smith and all these dudes just like ripping shit, and like the Toy Machine team, and like it was just you were surrounded by pro skaters whether you liked it or not, and it was so overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to say discouraging, but it was too early for me for sure. I felt like me at 18 was not ready to try and pursue skateboarding. But in my mind, that wasn't even what I was doing. It was never like, I've never like said out loud, like, all right, I'm going to go be a pro skater. It was like, okay, this is what I want.
You literally never even said it. You literally wrote on that paper, I just want to get better. Like you've never had this dream to do that.
Because it never felt like something real, because I never really had a solid sponsor until way later. Let's just put it that way. It was like, I didn't ever have like a serious hookup that was like taking me for real. And that's what I knew it was going to take. But getting that foot in the door was like so crazy for me for, I don't even know why. I guess you're just another kid just trying, you know, and maybe I don't know. I don't think what I was doing at the time stood out the way it eventually started to, but yeah, I think it was really intimidating and I didn't feel ready at all.
So that decision made you go home for a little bit, realizing when you got home, you were like, yo, nah, I'm not going to stay here either. What was that kick? What was that kick in the ass that was just like, nah, like I'm out. Like I need to go back.
I had to go home for, I think I gotten arrested for skating somewhere. And I had like a court
Talk about it. Talk about it. I need a viral clip anyway. Go ahead. What happened?
Dude, I got arrested for just, what was it? Trespassing on school property.
Mm-hmm.
We climbed into the school. You'd like break the door open to get in. And that was like a super popular spot at the time. You've probably seen it. It's all these blue ledges everywhere. Foy skated a bunch. Like, It looks like it's in this courtyard that's just super like secluded. But yeah, you'd like bust these doors in to get inside, and then we happened to be there around the same time as like this random crew of homies that we didn't really know. They were just other skaters. And I guess these other kids started breaking into like classrooms and stuff. And like they were taking it even farther. We just went there to skate. I remember I filmed a trick that day, and when we got arrested, they took the tape, like never got it back. But yeah, I was 18, so I got like actually, fingerprinted, all that, thrown in jail,
So they were
bailed myself out.
They were jits that were making those mistakes.
Yeah, for sure. Like some kids went to juvie. I went to actual jail because I was 18.
Damn.
And then, yeah. And
you never hear that.
They got me out. They got me out off. I remember I had $28 in my wallet. It was $26 bail. And I bailed myself out with the money I had in my wallet. And then I just called my girlfriend at the time. I was like, yo, I need you to pick me up because nobody heard from me.
Just give me 1 second, John. 1 second. Chat, that boy said he had a $26 bail. If I was in the same situation, never mind. It's all good. I'm not going to even go there. I was about to go there. I'm not going to even go there. Proud of you. You got out. That's fine. It's all good. We won't start going that deep. So you get out for literally 2 meals from In-N-Out. You get to bail out of jail. 2 3x3 meals from In-N-Out. You bail out of jail with fries and a milkshake. And you're... And does that make you go home?
No, this is like maybe 4 months before Steak was going to move. So I like got out, whatever. And then I had a court date, but I basically bailed myself out. But like I was given a court date to like go see what the fuck was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But that was like in the midst of, he was like, I'm moving, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, I'm going with him, but I'm going to fly back so I can make this court date type shit.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to the court, and then they dropped the charges or whatever. They're like, it was just a whole bunch of bullshit, just a bunch of runaround for like kids skating at school or at a school. Yeah, that was what had me go back.
That's because the police used that money to go buy some snow crab legs from Red Lobster. Like that's why they dropped your charges. They fucking mission accomplished, bro. It was over with. So you literally get out of jail. Damn, he went to damn jail for skating. That's insane.
Yeah, my mom was so mad. My mom was so mad.
Shit, I can't even blame her, dog.
She wasn't mad at me. She was mad at like the
situation at hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Goddamn skaters. See, that's why they worry about it, because they say you're going to walk around and get in trouble. You don't got to be doing anything. You could just be there and you were a skater, so it got bad rep. You end up in damn jail. But you get out for literally an EBT card, and...
It was so dumb, dude. I didn't even tell my parents until like the next morning because it was so late when I got out, and like they took my phone, they took everything. So we just got booked. Basically, like my phone was in the homie's car got impounded. So it's like everything's just gone. I had no communication with anybody. And then bail out, my girl came and got me, and then she drove me to her house. And then the next morning I walk in my door and I was like, yo, like to my mom, I was just like, yo, I got arrested yesterday. And like, it was just one of those like, she was like, what, for skating? Like, she was pissed. She was like trying to fight it, trying to do all this shit. And I was like, it's whatever. Like,
as she should. Damn it. That's your mama. She got your back. So now this blows over. You came back to California. You realize this is where the industry is. You're a young 18, 19-year-old dude. You feel me? Like, no real sponsors. Nobody's really giving you the attention. But you obviously know that you can skate at some level or eventually get there. You're now motivated. Got a battery in your back. You're still in Long Beach. You're skating with all these dudes. What crew do you fall into with that to start kind of like getting it going?
So I got to California I went straight to where Steak was living. He was living with Matt Miltano, Nick Zizzo. He was living with like a crazy crew of like random people that were all sort of Blake Carpenter and Joey Regali. Like they rented like the closet or something for their like skate gear because they were like always on trips. They were
Didn't
like
Joe
on King of the
Regali had a
Road.
big ass face? Is that who had that big ass face? Okay.
Yeah,
There
he
you
looked
go.
like the Geico caveman is what everybody would say. I think it was Geico. Am I wrong?
So easy a caveman can do it, bro. That's fully Geico.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I forgot we called that. I forgot we called him that. So Blake Carpenter, who's bar none probably one of the best skateboarders alive, is now down there with you as well. He also comes from FL. Do you know him as younger, or when you guys were younger, or do you meet him over at this place?
Dude, no, I actually got a funny story about like when I first heard of Blake, and I've told him this story a couple times, but basically they were filming that Daylando video where Blake like got super, blown up. Like that was when he like
I get Daylando confused with Florida Days all the time.
Yeah, they came out around similar times.
Same, right? Did real quick. Daylando crew was in that United Nations contest, right?
Yeah, we weren't. They were.
You weren't. You guys were bigger on YouTube. The Florida
Yeah,
Days videos were. Yeah.
I feel like Zion's just blew us up into everybody's perception, but like Daylando was like TJ and Blake. And like they had Dalton Dern, Kanan Dern, like they had a bunch of psycho ass fools. So it was like their video was crazy. But while we were filming our video, it was actually Steak, I think, that told me we would like go to spots with like, sometimes meet up with other crews like Steak's crew or something. And I remember there was like a couple different times we'd go to these spots like local to us, and they were like, oh yeah, these Orlando kids came into town and this kid switch heeled this bump to bar. And we were like, yeah, fucking right. That's like a pro. There's no way somebody did that.
Yeah.
And like nobody knew his name. He didn't have like a name. Like it was just like, oh, these dudes came to town and like so-and-so did this. And like this was before it was public that they were like dropping a video called Daylando and whatever.
Exactly.
So basically, and then we went to this other gap in West Palm and like it was like that same kid who switch heeled that bump to bar switched back, so I flipped this big ass gap. And I was like, bro, there's no way any of this is true. Like, there's just no way. Like, that's like pro skater shit. Like, local dudes, like Brad Cromer was like the bar.
He was the guy.
He was, if you were passing him, then you were doing it.
That's when you got to a spot. Definitely, whatever spot you were at, he had a trick of a really good caliber at it, basically.
Yeah, like we're going to gaps that he would like frontside flip, and then you're hearing about a random kid switch backside flipped it. And you're talking about a bump to bar that Brad kick flipped and some random kid switching it. Like, there's no way this is real, bro. There's no way. So in our crew, we had like sort of a joke about like this mystery dude that we thought it was all bullshit. And then the Daylando video came out, and all of a sudden there's like a face to the tricks because they're all in it. Blake switch heels the bump bar. He switch backside flips the gap. And I've told Blake that story about how like we would all go to spots and stuff and be like, there was this dude, this like fictitious person that could do all these tricks, but it was really Blake
all over our spots.
But it was Blake, and nobody. I never heard a name. It was always like just some dude from Orlando.
So some dude from Orlando came down and did.
So yeah, I didn't know Blake when I was young. We didn't know each other. It wasn't until we got to LA that we met.
Okay, at that same spot, like at Steak spot.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So damn, that's actually that makes it hella funny. Shout out to Blake Carpenter, man. Honestly, literally a goat in a hilarious human's body. I've never laughed harder at anybody, bro. I swear, I'm telling you, like, it is insane. Hold on, I gotta open something real quick. Oh, where you at? Where are we going? What happened? Hold on. Got some pages I gotta organize real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, you gotta get Blake on here, dude.
I don't gotta get Blake. No, I can't talk to him. I look him in the face and I start laughing, bro. He's ridiculous, bro. Like, nah, son. I've literally looked at Blake and he'll be like, I'm gonna get you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you saying that right now? But now you move it to the spot. It's a real skate house. You know, it's got all the feels of everybody that's hungry, wants to get out there. They want to rip. You're in a good spot now. Can you explain the first set of footage you put out when you get to Los Angeles? Yeah,
it was what was the first thing we did? Dude, we were skating a lot. I remember just diving into like not knowing what I was doing. It was when Ride Channel was popping, so we did
Mm-hmm.
some stuff with them, like one of those
Yep.
shredded cards.
That's when I. That's
Um,
when I. Besides Florida Days, because obviously Florida Days was the Zion thing. That's where I started to hear about you is through
yeah,
the Ride Channel stuff.
yeah, we dropped a part for Split on there. We dropped some random videos that were I think no, it wasn't Ride Channel. We dropped a part for Focus, which is the East Coast skate magazine.
Okay.
Um, yeah, we just started grinding. Me and Steak, I would just skate with Steak always with our crew, and I met Kevin Love, who was a homie from Virginia Beach that like started crashing on our couch, and then
Okay.
he would just come out with us, and he was like the main catalyst. We were skating with him a lot, and he was like 2 years older than me, and he was really good and really sponsored. So I was like, bro, you're doing it, and
Yeah, you're killing it.
I want to be around you. I want
Yeah.
to get good like you because I had pretty much nothing at this point. When I moved out of Florida, I a lot of my rep flow sponsors that were through the shops just dropped me because they were like, "Oh, you don't live in
You're
Florida
not
anymore."
here.
Then like,
Yeah.
yeah. So, um, what I think I was still on Organica though. I was still getting Organica boards for a while, but yeah, I remember one of the first tricks I did that started circulating, like people would, I never got hit back quicker about an email like a sponsor me tape was when I nose grind nollie flipped the Tarzana out ledge, the gap to
Oh.
ledge.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
When I did that trick and I started putting that in footy tapes, it was like I would get hit back and they're like, what do you want? What do you
Wait, is
need?
Tarzana?
Whatever.
That's not the post office blue box, is it?
It's the one, no, it's the one that Jerry Sue like nollie back tailed and stay gold. It has like a
Oh,
brick
oh
wall.
my God. Yeah. Okay. Damn. Shit.
That was one of the first tricks I remember doing that like fools were
Tripping.
really,
They're like,
yeah,
okay,
like
hold up.
people were noticing me because I did that.
That's all it takes, bro, is that one. That's all it takes is like the one buzz because we've been there and we really know that a flip out or a flip into the spot shows a level of talent. That's what it takes to just pop. So you get this, and now what you say, you got like a light organic flow and things like that. Now people are hitting you up. What does it turn into? What becomes of this?
So I think it was right around that same time. That was like 2013 ish. Like Organica started to go away.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I was really left with nothing because I didn't really have any sponsors aside from that. I got a lot of my gear from Kevin, honestly. Like he
Mm-hmm.
rode for Spitfire, Thunder, Girl, like you name it. He was like laced. So I was
He's
like, if
up.
I was down bad, I would just get something from him and just
Yeah.
skate it, like make it work. Girl board, whatever. Um, but I started to get, oh, dude, somebody at Dwindle hit me up. This is when I started skating for almost the first time around. Uh,
Ah, shit.
Somebody hit me up and got me in contact with James Craig. That was after Organica. And then that was when I started getting flowed almost. And I think they sent me Globe shoes too. So I was on Globe and almost at
Okay.
the 2014 ish time. And then I remember kind of I was like, I don't want to skate for Globe. So I hit up like Lakai. Daniel Wheatley was the Lakai team manager and he sent me
I remember
Lakai.
that
So that
time.
I was laced like that for a while. And then Steak and I moved to San Diego because Steak started working in San Diego. We had homies down there and I just went wherever he went. So in the midst of like the madness that was LA, and I still, even though I did that one trick at that one spot and people were starting to take notice, I still felt very overwhelmed and very out of place. So I think San Diego was like the appropriate move for me at that point in time because there were
Good
still
little
the quality
restructure.
spots. Yeah, there was really good spots, and I could just I could just like skate sort of around like less pros and like with less pressure. It was just us,
Yeah.
so it was really cool. Like moving to San Diego is when my skating I felt like took on more of a like mature sort of like I knew what I could do, I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew my strengths well enough where that was where I really started diving in the bag of like weird Manny shit. It was in San
Yeah.
Diego.
Because yeah, there's like this revamp of you. You're the tech dude, like you can balance your nose grinds and slide tricks pretty long, but then all of a sudden it seems like you're building these combos out of nowhere, and then you're starting to get more attention. So more sponsors are starting to hit you up or take you seriously at this point. Because I remember at one point you're wearing Lakai's, and then I see 3 stripes on your feet, and I'm like, what the hell?
So that was Lakai. Dude, there's so much change happening at that point in time because like I felt like I was just on the outside of this bubble, like being like obviously not being in LA anymore, and also like companies were flowing me and people knew I was skating. So like James Craig and these dudes were like looking out for me for sure. But I still felt like I started to feel like after a while being in San Diego, I was like, oh, I'm like basically in Florida, like to these people because I'm like outside of the mix. So not like I didn't really care that much because the quality of spots were still good and I was really comfortable skating with like our crew and filming at, spots around. But I started to notice that there was like less, I guess, communication happening.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I was wearing Lakai's, and then I remember emailing Wheatley about some shoes, and I sent him like I would always send footage when I would like ask for product. I would always just send tapes. So I sent him like this link of footage. I remember feeling really good about it because I was like, oh, I got like this trick I've been trying for like weeks, whatever. And then he hit me back and was like, dude, the footage is so sick. Like, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but like we are cutting our like entire flow team. So like we got to drop you and a lot of other dudes. So he was like, you're going to be good though, because like you're ripping, like don't even trip. And I was like, damn. So
like
that happened.
Wow.
Yeah, that happened. And that was how that stopped. And then the Adidas thing happened because of Al Baglio was helping me out. Cause at this, then I transitioned from almost to CLICHE.
Yep.
Somewhere, which is a whole other long ass story. Which,
but get into it.
Just talk about
how did that happen? How did the CLICHE thing go down? It's crazy. It's too. If it's too much, you don't got it. You ain't got it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying,
no.
If it's viral and somebody fell in a volcano or got hit by a bus,
no,
tell us.
Dude, I just feel like there's so much depth to so much that happened to me. This thing's gonna end up being like 5 hours.
Hey, but man, you're one of those people with a good story. That's the thing, and it's like. That's what I think.
I don't know if it's good, but it's a story.
I mean, it's a story. That's what I'm saying, though. But it is a good story because, to be honest, if you look at it, like whether you don't want to talk about like the meat of it all, you went from being in 5th or 6th grade and writing like, I just want to get good at skateboarding to like John, like literally, bro, you're in a top caliber of what we all do and love. Like you're one of the dudes that when we watch your footage, you impress all of us, and you have constantly. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you've added this new thing to it. You've put this good spin and flavor on it. You like give us this whole like day one / like actually like really good style, really good pop and control type of thing. And then you're flying down things like Switch and Humongous to, you're like your story matters. I want you to know that, bro. Like honestly, like obviously like how you say like it may not do whatever, but it literally does matter. So to get on CLICHE, is that behind like some Joey stuff because of switching your style and skating and you're starting to do like the manuals and combos? Like how'd that go?
Dude, no, so I was living in San Diego, and this story is actually also a weird full circle story when we get back to almost later. Mm-hmm. But so I remember hitting up James for some boards, and I started noticing once I moved to San Diego, I was getting kind of like smaller and smaller packages, like just like 3 boards, 2 boards instead of like the 4 all the time. So I was like, okay, like I don't know what, maybe their budget's getting smaller. I don't know. But he hit me up one day and I was like, yo, I just want to like know what was up. Like I've just been noticing like the communications pulling back. And I think I just hit him with like a real, like I wanted answers about what was going on. And he wrote me this long email and he was like, yeah, so, almost we got this tight knit crew right now. We're putting on Tyson Bowerbank, Fran Molina, and Yuri. And he was like, basically, he was like, you're not one of these dudes that we're putting on. And we're like focusing on these dudes. And he was like, I could try and like sort you into another brand if you want, if you don't feel like this is what you want. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I get it. It's cool. And at that time, Almost was still kind of like a superstar team to me. It was like a bunch of like crazy tech dudes. Like I didn't see myself getting on Almost at that point in time. Like I really didn't. I felt like I was doing more, I don't know, like the stuff I was into, the skating I was trying to do, it wasn't what I saw Almost as like this crazy skilled tech shit.
Dude,
I was a fan of Cliche. I would have picked that if they gave me an option. So I hit him up about riding for Cliche. And he was like, oh, we can't do Cliche. Like straight away just shot me down. And I was like, okay, well, that's the only brand I want to ride for that isn't like, that isn't Almost. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll figure it out. So we kind of like had a falling out of contact, and I was just riding like shop boards from Slappy's garage.
Yeah.
So that was what I did for a little bit, and I was filming a lot and getting like better footage. And I remember I knew my shit. I knew who was the owner of Cliche. I knew who ran Cliche. Like I knew these things because I paid attention, and I knew it from like I knew Luis was the guy at Almost, and I knew Louis was the guy at Enjoy. So basically, I just one night put this footy tape together, and I felt good about it, and I was like, I'm still persistent about trying to get these Cliche boards, dude. So to me, it was like my dream sponsor. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like try and get a hold of this dude, Jeremy Docklin, who's the French dude that started it. And so I'm like up late one night, just rapid firing random emails. Jeremy at Cliche, this and that, whatever. And bro, I wake up the next morning after shooting like a bunch of emails into the dark, just
like
with random
different emails because you don't have his. You just typing.
Yeah. I just started making shit up, and he replied to me. And so I woke up the next morning, and he replied to me and was like, "Whoa, like, what did he say?" It was super broken English. And one of the things he said was like, "Oh, don't show Joey Brzezinski your nose, Manny. It's better than his," or something. He made some little foreign joke.
Yeah.
And so I was like, damn, I got hold of this dude, and I have his attention. So then he didn't realize what he did, but I just started like flooding.
Bro, were you not about to tell this story? Were you not?
It's just a long story, dude.
That's
like it's just long.
What do you mean, bro? Like, do you know how hard it is to guess an email? Are you actually like out of your mind? Like, bro, emails are like there's like billions and billions of emails. You hit the right one from listening and being observative. Homie replies to you and roasts Joey Brzezinski ugly ass, tells you that your nose mail is better than his, and then he tells you what? Go ahead.
So basically to go back to how I was telling you, I was like this shy kid in elementary school and all this. At this point, I was like this persistent, annoying ass kid. Like, but I wasn't a kid. I was probably like 20, but still I was like
real quick. Hold on. Internet professional just said Sasha Gray just went online on Twitch, but he's here with us. So he wants to be here with us, John Dilo. You remember Sasha Gray?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just I was making sure.
Well, good. Thanks for kicking it with us, dude, and listening to my rambling
now
stories.
We're gonna get back into our story, 100%. But shout out to Sasha Gray. You spelled it wrong, so that means that his search bar isn't like mine because I remember exactly how to spell her name. But go ahead and continue. So like seriously, bro, like sorry. Go ahead. So
I was basically just explaining like I went from this shy kid to like I just became this persistent kid that like I knew what I wanted type shit, and if I had like a gateway to getting something, I was gonna just skate my ass off and show whoever I needed to show that I was skating. Once I got Jeremy's email, I was like, like thinking back how annoying I probably was, because I would just every month, every couple weeks, if I got beast tricks, if I had enough to put a link together, and like Steak helped me with all this, so I would just send them to him, and he would reply to me, and then I think he even made a comment where he was like, "Wait, what? Like you don't get boards? Like what? Why are you flooding me with all this footage?" And he was like, "You don't get Cliche boards?" And I was like, "No, I used to get Almost boards." And then James told me no, and like here I am. And basically he replied to me and like CC'd in James, Craig, and Al Baglio, and basically was like, "Yo, can we just like send this dude some boards? Because he's like won't stop hitting me up with footage." And like I never once said to him like, "Yo, I want boards." I just kept sending him footage.
Yeah.
And I knew eventually he'd get the picture or he'd say something. So, and that's what ended up happening.
That's a good
and then
budge.
James
Especially the
probably
shit you
hated
got.
me.
Yeah.
Because James replied and was just like, all right, dude, like, what do you want? Because like, it was like it's like that situation where you go around this dude
Yep.
whose job it was. And I was like, he probably fucking was so over my shit.
Of course, bro. Nobody wants you to go around them. That's what the whole skating industry is about. It's like they all put up walls and do all this stuff, and they think they're these guys who, if
But
you
hey, James is the shit. He's a good friend of mine.
mind you, yeah. Shout out James Craig. Shout out everybody. But I'm saying that's what the skating industry does. There's a bunch of guys that just swear on God that they're just the end all be all, and it's like, bro, there's a way. This dude might feel different from what you think. Like, usually these dudes are to protect the homies, so they don't want you to be like ever trying to hit up a jet and then getting your spirit broken either. Because these are the dudes that are your friends. They do care about. Sometimes they don't want you to talk to your hero. Your hero chops you a new one like, yo, I can't rock with you. Then you're just this skater that gave up, and they were just trying to avoid all that. They were just like, I don't think it's going to work. I get that too. But sometimes these dudes is nobodies.
I just knew. I don't want you to deal
with this. Real quick, I don't want you to deal with this. Sometimes these dudes in this skate industry is nobodies. Tell you that real quick. Flunky, lackey, suckers. Okay.
Nah, dude, let them know.
I will. I will let them know every single time that there are people at a job and they're not even like, they don't even know where the North Star directs you north. Stupids.
Dude, it's like, I feel like the only thing that I don't mind telling the story of whatever the fuck I've amounted to with riding a skateboard, but the only reason I like sharing these things is because I feel like there's kids out there that maybe they can see like, wait, you could get knocked down this many times and like still keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. And there's not just a couple sponsors. There's a bunch. You can get, you can go to Europe. You can go to South America. You can just start repping. Like, you can just I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like, it doesn't just stop with the 10 companies you see all the time. There's a lot. They have their own audience, their own fans, their own, and you never have to give up on skateboarding because this one dude who looks cool told you no. You never have to stop. So I feel like you are a really important piece of saying, no matter how many times you get knocked down. Shout out Carrie Hilson. She had a great song called "It Knocks You Down, Just Get Back Up When It Knocks You Down." So you get these cliche boards. Mm-hmm. You're not really on the team, it doesn't seem like, but you're getting a couple boards. What was that first box like, and how did it feel?
Dude, I was so hyped. I remember filming this crazy trick the day I got these boards. I went staking out. We lit up this spot. He probably remembers. I tried it for like 5 hours, dude. It was like over this handrail to nose mani and like nollie half kick flip off this like drop, but it was like really quick. But I set up one of these boards and I was like, oh, it's on. Like they gave me these boards. I'm gonna like it was like the gas that I didn't really need, but I knew it was gonna be like something different once I got what I wanted, Yeah. So we went back a bunch of times. He's saying in the chat. We did. We went back like 5-6 times. But the day I did it, I knew I wasn't going to throw in the towel once I got the boards because I was like, no, this next footy tape they're going to see is going to be crazy. So basically, I was just so hyped to feel like I was representing something that I really fucked with. And like, I was a huge fan. So that was great. And then like going back to the Lakai question, I got cut from Lakai a little bit later. And then Al Baglio, who was the brand manager at CLICHE, ended up being really close with me, like through all this. Mm-hmm. We had like we'd talk about a ton of things. I'd send him video parts. He'd try and get my stuff hosted through Thrasher or whatever. He'd help me out so much. And he was a super cool dude. But now he works at ADIDAS, but he was the link that got me, when I got cut from Lakai, I just hit him up because I was like, I don't know what else to do. So he was like, yo, I could probably get you ADIDAS because I know all those guys. And I started getting shoes the same day Paul Shire became the team manager. Wow. Like the day he got the job, I just got like an email from him saying like, yo, sending you a box of shoes. What's your size? And shout out Al because he hooked it up for sure.
Shout out Sir Baglio. That was my boy. He was sponsoring my boy Slime, my brother, for a little bit. So we used to talk shit a lot. So now that's like the full circle moment. So now you're hype, you're
Yep.
keeping going a little bit after Cliche ends. This is you're
Yep.
also towards the end of that. You did it with Organica, you did it with, you did it with Cliche, and then you get back on some companies. This goes on, and now you've really established yourself in this industry. Like some time goes by though, but now you've like,
Yeah.
yeah, like
There was a bit of like a dude that's like a big gap in time though from the last story. Cliche goes out of business 2016.
yes,
Uh,
Foy
and
wins.
then
Foy wins 2017.
yep. It was like November 2016.
Zion goes for it 18.
Mhm.
So, but then yeah, in that time, go ahead.
I'm just trying to. Okay, so a big thing that happened between these two moments in time was Jamie, Josh Douglas, Nikolai. They all drove out here from Florida, and they came to San Diego to like light up some rail or something. And they hit me up. And at this point, mind you, we were not like day one homies. Like I'd only
Yeah,
known Jamie through passing in Florida. Like
exactly.
him and
Same
Zion were
contest,
close.
same video, like hearing about him. Pink shirt,
Yeah,
right?
I would see
He's
stuff. I knew he was
chubby and
really
shit.
good. I would
Yeah,
see him at I would see him at Tampa Ams. I would see him at Clash of the Cruise, like all this stuff that would go on at Spot.
yeah,
And he came through, stayed with us, lit up some spots, and then he was like, "Oh, you're trying to like." I mean, Jamie's always been a real one, dude. Everybody that doesn't, I'm sure people say it all the time, but Jamie's always been like who he is today is who he was 8 years
exactly,
ago or
bro.
however long ago.
Then, yeah,
But I remember then he was like, just he was talking to me while he was at our house, and he was like, "Oh, like, bro, why are you living down here? Like, you're beast. You should try and like move back to LA and like do this skate shit." And like, I was like, I don't know. Like, do I have to? Do you think I really should? He's like, bro, like being out here is like no different than Florida. Like, you should just. We're looking to get a spot. Like, if we find something and need more heads to like throw down on rent, I'll hit you up, whatever. So him and Josh ended up hitting me up, being like, "Yo, do you want to do this?" Because like, but it was more. I remember Jamie like pushing me because Jamie was like, "Bro, you're beast. Like, you should just try and like do what we're all doing, and we'll pay dirt cheap rent." And I was like, "Fuck." Okay. I mean, thinking to myself, I'm like 2 years older than Jamie. At that point, I
facts.
was probably 21, and he was like 19. So
Hmm.
when he was telling me, because I was like, I don't even know this dude, and he's like pressing me to come live with them and like do this shit. And I
Yeah,
was like, damn, that's like some real shit. So uh, I ended up 2016. I ended up moving to Long Beach with Jamie and Josh. We had this crazy skate house, which tons of people came through, ended up throwing down rent, sleeping on the couch. I slept behind that couch for a very long time in that
so
apartment,
crazy.
and we did a lot of skating.
Damn, bro. Legendary
Yeah.
moments with the bros in
Yeah,
there
dude, it's crazy
in
thinking back to
LB.
that moment because it changed everything for sure.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely changed everything.
So now that you're back in LB, like this Long Beach crib, right?
Yeah.
So now that you're back in LA, Long Beach, skating those spots, getting familiar with that. Shortly after Jamie becomes Skater of the Year.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. It felt like a blink, and we got there, and then it was like, I remember the day he like came out of his room and was like, "Andrew just told me I'm gonna be on Death Wish," and you're like, "What? What do you mean? What?" And then, dude, like stuff like that would just happen. Where we were, that place was like magic, bro. That place has like this energy about it that was like it turned into like a
Bro, the
real gnarly
LB
skate shit.
crib
But
was insane. Cause
yeah, it was crazy.
I remember when you guys were all just I don't know, everybody was just like the homies that were trying to get in. And I would just
Hmm.
be like, man, you're ripping, you're ripping, you're ripping. I remember when Josh Douglas, I remember Ish, I'm just like, you guys are ripping. Like, I just want to, like, I want to see everybody in this house win. I remember those days, bro. That's when I used
Dude,
to skate cherry. That's when I used to try to come around and stuff like that. I remember those
yeah,
days.
yeah. I remember meeting you around that time at like
Exactly.
some trade show stuff. I think I met you at like an agenda or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. Damn. That's so long
But
ago. That's crazy.
getting back to LB, like the second time around, my mental was definitely in a different place. I felt more confident. I had like sponsors. I felt like I was ready to take it on with all the homies. And
Yeah.
at the time, like I said, we weren't that close initially. Like I knew Nikolai really well. Nikolai, I skated with back in Florida. Like
Yeah.
he was probably the one I was closest with. But Josh and Jamie, I just knew like as like acquaintances.
Of
And then
course.
Ish and Tyson, I literally only met once at a skate park at Tampa contest. But then all of us had this like camaraderie in the sense that we all just moved there off like nothing. None of us, we didn't have a group chat. We didn't have a plan. We all just ended
Nothing.
up there same time. And it was like, oh shit, let's do this, you know? And then Pedro came a little later. A lot of dudes like, but it was like this organic thing where Zion was living in Long Beach somewhere. He was floating around at that time, but he was already like traveling. He was in the mix, but like Jamie, myself, Ish, Tyson, we were outside of the bubble. It was like we all took like the camaraderie of each other to get to like making it happen, you
I
know? And that was
remember
what made
that.
us all comfortable and made us all progress, you know?
I remember that shit like it was yesterday. Nobody had a
Yeah, super
solid
cool.
anything. Nobody from
Yeah.
FL had a solid anything. It was just like the really good mix of homies that lived together that were filming every weekend. Like no
Yep.
matter what, even if you got the little jobs, filming every weekend, tricks that are just getting smashed out that everybody's like, what is happening? Like it just felt like it was like this wave, you know? And then you guys are all
For
really
sure, dude.
backing each other and supporting each other. So you all are down on this Florida fight together. You feel me?
Yep.
And it spirals. It's solid. Things are becoming more real. Like I said, Jamie starts to get he gets skater of the year. You guys are all in this crib. His life, kaboom, improves. You're skating
Yep.
at a higher level. You're motivated. You're pushed. You're doing your thing. What is life like in that realm of time? 2017, 2018-ish.
Yeah, 2017 was crazy because it was like obviously Jamie had a lot of momentum and it without us even realizing it because like I said, he's just a realized dude. He's not gonna like cut anybody out. If he's shining, we're all shining. And it's
Yeah.
kind of like it's sort of just how he is. It wasn't really like he didn't realize what was happening around him was so special and none of us did, but he was like luckily accepted into that Baker Boys camp because he was doing some shit that you would think as a flow dude it would not fly. Like he'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to meet with Beagle. Like, you guys all want to pile in and go skate?" And like we would all pull up on sessions with like John Dixon and like dudes that were like scary. And we would just pull up like Jamie would be like the flow dude that pulled up with like 8 heads. But Andrew was like, "Oh, he's like how I was, you know." That's like what we would hear. Is he was stoked because he was like, "I was the guy with the car. I was the one that brought Eric and Jim and everybody around." So it was like he's like the boss, you know. So they just thought it was sick what we were doing, and that's how all of us ended up on Shake Junt.
Yeah.
Was honestly my first real sponsor, like actually like no bullshit. Like I felt like Shane looked out for us and did things that like ultimately changed, like put us in the face of the industry more than other, you know, like
Facts.
other sponsors weren't doing that. He made a whole video about us called Flavor Country, and it was
shit.
just off the hype of the Florida dudes, you know, and
Yep.
they all were just so juiced on what we were doing, and then Jamie's shine sort of like cast upon all of us, and that is what helped all of us get something, you know.
Damn, bro. That time period. I'm telling you, man. Shout out to all that. Then, like you said, the homie didn't cut nobody off, didn't act like he didn't change up, didn't switch up, didn't get more exclusive, because that's what happens with that type of knit. You get on Baker, all of a sudden the text is green. You like, yo, damn. For a lot of people, not me. I was already a part of it. I was on America. I was already in there. It was all good. I could have pulled up on John Dixon, ran a fade. That's the homie. But for a lot of people, that's not the reality. So it's like, you know, you're getting this level of attention and respect from people that have all the attention and respect. You're really brought in. Shake Junt family brings you guys in, gives you your own videos, makes your own little one-offs. Instagram's popping this time. The videos are 1 minute now. There's edits from all the homies and all the crews. People are getting reposted tricks. Like, you guys are just blowing up. Like, it's just this whirlwind of like, you can't stop seeing the dudes that came from Florida. Now,
yeah, dude, and that another catalyst I just remembered. So alongside Jamie's stuff was those dudes at Thrasher, and Steak will remember this too. Those dudes at Thrasher would just like off, not knowing me, not having a cosign in any way. I think the first part they hosted of mine was when I still lived in San Diego, but those dudes just fucked with me off the strength of I don't know what. Like Mike Gilbert, Burn Dog, all those dudes just like we sent them a video part, had no idea how any of that worked, and they were just like, yeah, we're down to host this, paid for the music rights, all this stuff. I heard about, like, once I moved up to LA, I remember hearing the numbers of what they paid and all this shit, and like how Tony and all these dudes were just like, oh, he's just, the dude wants to work, he wants to skate, he wants to put out video parts, and like that was a helpful thing for me too. Those dudes fucked with me off of not even meeting me, and that was like huge too, alongside Jamie, and you know what I mean? Like that came later, but low key, the mag was a big part of like people seeing me more.
That's so sick, bro. Them hosted parts.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
That was like the beginning of that too, like when they really started like taking people's parts in too. So shout out to that.
For sure, dude.
Now, like I said, it kind of rolls on and it gets to this point where, like you say, you get back on some stuff. You start getting established back on sponsors. Let's get into that real quick. So
let's see. It was a bit of a fast forward though. So I didn't have Tyson's getting on Element, Jamie's on Death Wish, turns pro. We go on a Skater of the Year trip. Me, Ish, and Pedro go as like the Florida homies, and then Pedro gets on Death Wish. Trying to think of like all in the meanwhile I'm bouncing because CLICHE went out and I felt really lost and I felt really like conflicted about what I wanted, because obviously I wanted to skate. I wanted to do what all my homies are doing. I wanted to be like, oh, like they can do it, I can do it. But also I wasn't willing to just sign up for anything, because some people hit me up and it was flattering and it's cool, and I don't want to sit here and like bash anybody that wants to present an opportunity to anybody, but like it wasn't me. And so when I had to, like, I remember fools calling me crazy when I would be like, oh no, I'm not doing that or whatever. And they were like, what? Oh, like you're not going to get another chance like that or whatever. But I just knew it wasn't for me.
Sponsor that thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, I had a lot of that happening. And then people were calling me crazy because I didn't want to take the whatever got thrown my way, which were, you know, there was a couple things of people that showed interest, but it like wasn't
what you were looking for.
I'm like, bro, I'd rather work a job. Like, you know how much I sacrifice for this shit? You know how much I
don't want no bullshit.
Like, I'd rather just work a job and buy what I like if that's really what it came down to. Like, and I'm not looking around the room like, oh, boys on Death Wish, fools are on this and that. That wasn't what it was about. It was about what I wanted and what I felt I could like value my skating at. And I was like, I could at least get like on a brand that I think is cool. Like,
what were some of those brands that offer, not even like, because it's not controversy at this time, it's like a long time ago. What was one a brand that didn't fit what you had going on? If you just had to name one.
Santa Cruz hit me up.
Okay.
They hit me up like the day CLICHE announced they were done, which I thought was like crazy. I was like, well, they're on it. They knew I was in there. They knew I was like, it was done. And they hit me up. And that was one I got a lot of heat for, because dudes are like, they have money, they'll pay you. And I was like, bro, but it's just like, I ride for Venture, I ride for Spitfire. Like, it's not me. Like, I don't see myself over there. Like, I just don't. Like, it's not what I see working, you know?
Tight.
And, I mean, it was, like I said, I don't want to bash any opportunities that people that are just looking at.
It's not even bashing. It's just like some people have an image for themselves and sponsors that they want, you know? And it gets like that. It's almost like there's been like a ton of people that'll get like Powell or Blind offers, you know what I'm saying? And that's no disrespect to those companies, but they don't fit people's look, and that's not our fault. That's like some people just are like, dude, I don't want to, because for some people, like, even though the thing is that most skaters need to think about is a lot of those dudes are like, you're never going to see that again. You're not one of those people. You're not one of those skateboarders where it was like, you're not going to see that again, like just from where you took it. But for a lot of dudes, you do sit there and think like, dude, you probably should have said yeah to that shoe company, you know? But it's like if they feel passionate enough and it's not for just the money, you know, then you got to agree with it. So you say no.
That's really what it felt like. I was making my decisions off. I was like, at this point, when CLICHE went out, I was 23, and I was like, you know what? I ain't doing nothing that don't feel right from now on, because I don't even give a shit about the material shit in skating. Yeah. Like, I don't care about turning pro. I got to see some of my closest homies go from like having nothing to making livable money to being Skater of the Year. I was like, bro, that's like me getting everything, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't even fucking care what I get.
You watched it up close.
Yeah. for sure. So I came to terms with it early that I was like, if I don't do this, it's all good. I'll do whatever. I'll grind whatever I have to, like, thug it out to make money, to be able to skate, film video parts. I'm going to do it no matter what. So I was like, if it don't align with me, I'm not taking it. So that was why there was like a huge gap, because I think the next thing that happened that changed everything was I had, I don't know if it was second, third Thrasher part come out. It was called Silhouette is what it was called. And there was an Adidas shoe release party that I got invited to. And I usually don't go to those kinds of things.
No, you don't.
Because especially the day video parts come out, because that's like weird. You're just like, it's like showing up to it's like throwing yourself a birthday party or some shit. So I remember going to this thing because they invited me and I was like, I should probably just go. I drove all the way to Hollywood, went to this thing. And Cairo Foster worked at Adidas. And he was one of the only people that talked to me about the video part that came out, which I thought was cool because a lot of people didn't talk to me about it. And he was like, oh, who do you get boards from? And at this point, I was floating for so long. I was getting boards from, like, Jamie was giving me some Death Wish boards. Like, you know, J-Bone, some of those dudes over there were giving me boards. And, like, it was just more of like a homie hookup. And I'm sure the whole world, that's like one of the things the whole world saw as like a real thing. But it was, you know, they just put Pedro on, Foy. It was like, it was almost too much all at once. So I understand why people thought that, but also like I knew it was like, you know, they just put Pedro on. I was like, bro, like they're just helping me because I'm the homie. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, Cairo asked me what I was doing, and he was like, I'll talk to Louis for you. And I was like, no way. And I didn't really believe him because I didn't know him.
Yeah.
And he hit Louis up, and then Louis ended up hitting me. I think he texted me or something random happened where I just got a message from Louis Barletta. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, Cairo was for real. And he ended up being like, oh, Cairo thinks you're sick. Like, that's big. Like, I think you're sick if Cairo thinks you're sick. So he's like, I was like, dude, I've already been over here. Like, what? Like, thinking to myself, like, what the fuck? Like, how the fuck did I end up back at Dwindle?
How am I back in this building? How am I back in?
So,
was El Segundo? No,
it was El Segundo, yeah.
El Segundo. I'm back in El Segundo. What the hell? I'm near the airport. What's going on?
So, yeah, and then Louis hits me up, and he's like, yeah, we can just get you some boards and, like, you know, see what's up. And I'm like, yeah, word, that's cool. You know, I hadn't had shit going on for so long, and I felt like it was fizzling away. Like, opportunities were 2 years is a long time in skate time to just be floating. And I knew I was still doing skating, that I knew I was still capable of doing good skating, but it started to get more real that I was like, this probably ain't happening. So basically Louis, I ended up getting some ENJOI boards for like 6 months, I'd say. It was like most of 2018.
That 6 straight months you're getting those boards. So that now, what years now we're in that 6 months, 18. Then you go to 2019, right?
Yep.
Now we're in 2019.
Yep.
Things change yet again.
Yep. So this was also
so it's like literally, it seems like besides, like you said, like the 17, 18, which there are a lot that happen around that. Like the more you focus things of like your points go from like almost year to year. So 18 to 19, another change happens. What was that? Let's tell them.
So I was getting flowed just like they were helping me out. Like I had like a shape I rode, and like I still ride it to this day. So it's like they were hooking me up, but it was like I was part of, like, it wasn't just like some kid getting some boards. I like had like a whole thing going on, and it was super cool to be back at Dwindle because I really liked the boards. So I was like, oh, this is cool. And Louis was super cool, and I went on some small ENJOI trips. I got to kick it with Ben like shortly before his passing, and that was super heavy for when it happened. Yeah. But I was doing a lot with them, and I felt like it got us
it's
closer.
Dark where you are, by the way. So can we get? I just want to tell you that it just got dark. Yeah, Ben's and W's in the chat for Ben. Seriously, Ben Ramers, man, forever. Seriously.
Boom. Lights are on.
There we go.
Oh.
So you go on some light ENJOI trips. You know.
Yeah. So what ended up happening? Oh, so I met these dudes and we kicked it a bunch. I felt like there was some momentum that I felt was more than just me getting boards and shit. And I I remember in 2018 I put this like thing in my like a goal in my head, and I was like, dude, I wanna shoot a like photos and be in Thrasher like a real pro skater would. Like I
Yeah.
never really had photos in Thrasher. I had one venture ad, and I don't think I went on Foy Sodi trip and I had some like coverage from that. But I was like, no, I want to do like an interview, or I want to like be in the mag. Like I went out, shot with the photographers, and I like faced a fear of like hitting up Joe Hammocky and like never meeting him, but
Yeah.
being like, yo, could we go
Totally.
skate and shoot photos? And then he would link with me and we shot all this stuff. And then Burnett hit me up and was like, yo, I'm going to give you like a heads interview because you got all this epic shit with Joe. And I was like, fuck,
Wow.
that's crazy.
Damn bone.
No, he's like tripping, you know, because at this, it's rare that kids like don't have anything going on and like these dudes want to throw you a bone like that. But like I said, these dudes have my back for off the strength for no
For a long
reason.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I called Louis because Burnett was like, "Yo, who do you want to like do the interview with?" And I was like, "Louis for sure." So I called Louis and was like, "Yo, I'm having this Thrasher interview. I wanted to see if you wanted to do it with me." And then he was like, "What? You're having an interview in the magazine?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he was like, "Hold on, let me call you back." And he hung up with me. I guess he called Burnett, and then he called me back and was like, "Dude, sorry, like no disrespect, but I I had to call Burnett to like make sure that you were for real, because he's like, dude, well, I have team riders that can't get interviews in this fucking mag, and he's like, there's dudes that we pay that can't get interviews in this mag, and you're just dropping on me, you're a flow dude just getting an interview in Thrasher. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't know,
I don't know how it's
he just
happening
hit
either,
me up.
son. Don't ask me questions.
Yeah, I was
I
like, I
just
just am skating.
yeah.
Um, so Louis was like, yo, we're gonna have a meeting at Dwindle tomorrow. Like, let me call you back because like he was like, you're doing a lot for you need to be like on a team or like set up for something. Like something needs to happen here because he's like, this is kind of crazy. And that was the first time anybody really like said it straight to me, like they were fucking with what I was doing, and they're like, no, you deserve more than just some boards, right? So that was like a huge moment for me because in my head I was like, oh my god, something's gonna happen, something good, you know. And I was like, I felt close to what was ultimately I got on almost, but it just felt surreal to have like someone else see what you're doing and be like, all
And
right,
acknowledge it.
you're
Just
at the point
acknowledge
where
it
you
and
need.
give it that nod and that next, like, okay, it's like the good heads up. All these people that are established in this shit are giving me that, like, feel me across the club, like, yeah, what's going on with you?
Yeah,
They give you that.
it was super sick, and to hear it from Louis was like really cool because I know the dude's like, you know, he's known for having fun and all this, but he's a dude that values skaters that work hard, and I've
Yes.
seen that. And after getting to know him, I knew that too. So I was like, you know, this is super sick that he is seeing me. And yeah, he called me back the next day, and he was like, yo, I'm not pushing you away. I'm not telling you to leave. But this is when Deeds was in the mix, and like
Mm-hmm.
they had like all this plans for Deeds, and
Yeah.
he was like, yo, these dudes that almost want to put you on and pay you. And he's like, fuck, by the time we can do that, he was like, you might already be pro for almost. So he was like,
Yeah.
you
Just
might
go
want to
over
like
there.
just do this. And I was like, fuck. And it was sort of like a confliction I had, but I saw that what almost was doing at the time with like adding Max, and Yuri was, you know, Yuri's still fucking ripping, but I
Yeah.
just felt like they had more of like a cliche vibe going on with like the newer look. And I felt like it was the right move for me, and
Karanzi,
it
right?
felt
Maxi
right.
Karanzi.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's ultimately how I ended up there, was from Louis.
So Louis telling you like, yo, we got these other plans. Go over here, get settled. You're still Dwindle family. We're right here. We just want to make sure you make it. Basically, that was like
Yeah.
those
He
older
was
dudes saying like,
looking at
not like how your friends were saying, bro, you should have took that money. These are like the dudes that are in the industry. Like, it's not take that money. It's like stay here, but this is a way to stay around. So
Yeah.
you take that. You go, okay, cool. You guys have been backing me. I'm doing all this amazing stuff. You know, and you go. Now you get on
Hmm.
almost, and team's different. A lot of things change when you get on there. That new team of you guys. Um,
Yeah.
it just becomes, well, actually, it's always been a tech onslaught, but goes to another level because you start bugging out. Like, you come around with combos that are making people uncomfortable at this point. You're just like, you are doing things on a skateboard where we're like, yo, what the hell? Like, what the hell? Okay? And it doesn't stop. Like, there's this onslaught of I'm going to keep giving you shit, of me going up, down, balancing. And then your skating isn't in a pocket either, John. Like, it's not. That's the thing, bro. Like, you're not a manual dude. Joey Brzezinski's ugly ass. Hold on, real quick. Joey Brzezinski's ugly ass is a manual dude. You're not. You're a full skateboarder. You can skate everything. Like, we're hyped.
Not
like,
everything, but
shit just, damn near everything. All right, you can't skate mega rev, can't skate vert. You're not really the most handrail dude in the world. All right, we're not going to sit here and do that. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. The heck I'm talking about. Look, you almost made me get out of character. But, yeah, you're skating heavy. But now, you know, let's kind of like, we can get into in the midst, but it's like, bro. No, I know he could skate heavy, but you know what I'm saying. He's not. See, you got to remember. Steak, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? John can skate any, but, you know, he doesn't choose that life. He wants to fly down some shit. So, in that 2019, 2020 kind of onslaught of you going, you know, you turn up. Like, shit gets real for you. You know, what year is that? Let me go back. 21?
2021 was when stuff got like really crazy. That was like when my anxiety was at an all-time high for sure.
Yeah. Life switches. Like,
yeah.
And what happened? Obviously, a lot of things happened personally, stuff like that. But
well, 2019, September 2019, I dropped a part with Almost. Welcome to the team. A year goes by, September 2020, they turned me pro. So there was like, you know, in the midst of all that, it was a lot of skating, a lot of like, once I got the door open this much, so I was about to kick that motherfucker all the way open.
Exactly.
You know?
Boom. We at the front door.
That's what it felt like. It felt like I just need y'all to crack this shit, and I'm gonna get in there. So that's what it felt like. It felt like I saw an opportunity, and I was surrounded by people that believed in me, and I was like, it felt like the sky was the limit, and so I skated my fucking ass off, and then when I turned pro, I see. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it too. You see with a lot of people, like, you know, they get this thing, and it's like, that's it. They got this thing, and they're just kind of like riding off the high that they turned pro, and they don't ever turn up the heat like when they wanted to be pro. And I was like, to me, it felt like I'd been interning all these years, and I finally got the fucking job, right?
Yeah. So
I'm like, dude, every day I want to try and prove to myself that I'm a pro skater all over again. You know, like that's how I still try and see it that way. I still am like, every day I'm not pro until I say that's what I am. You know what I mean? Until I do that work that makes me feel like I'm doing my job. So it's
good drive.
I feel like that's what carried me into 2021. Cause at this point, 2021, who knows what would have happened had I not gotten hurt in 2022. But like, I felt like 2021 was like the peak of like, I was like, oh, I'm going to push this shit until like the walls cave in. Like, I'm going to try and see how far I can take every extent of my abilities. And I made it out pretty unscathed. And then next year I got hurt doing something stupid. But 2021 was crazy because it was a lot of skating, a lot of trips. And it just kind of was like the most organic thing that when it came to an end, I was like so anxious. I never had so much anxiety over like, all I did was skate, but I felt like so many eyes were on me, and I felt like the whole skate of the year contendancy. That's like a dream to even get that.
Bro,
to get to that point, it's like, to me, I won.
You were getting like, I'm telling you, like everybody was like, whoa, Nolly 180, Oh my God, the list goes on. I wish you guys would. They pulled it open earlier, but that you started going nuts, John. Like you talk about eyes on you, bro. Laser beams too. Like you was on a red dot. You feel me? Those
Yeah,
parts,
it was a lot of
yeah,
skating.
bro. I was watching that. Like when I was seeing that in the uploads, I was like, yo, what is my man's on right now, bro? You supposed to be the manual dude. Why is you going up that high in the air? What is you doing? But you just
Dude,
weren't.
the whole year of 2021, we were filming that part that was at the end of the year.
Yeah.
That was like the goal was to make an almost video that we
Yeah.
talked about in January. So I was going so hard that it was like, I'm gonna like go off for this almost video because we have this new team, we have all these M's, we have all these new dudes. So I'm with the idea that there's gonna be a video, and in the midst of all that, I think I dropped a video for my skate shop. We dropped a tour edit, which had like a small part of me at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we dropped, what was the third thing that dropped? I think there was 4 total video parts that were like actually, maybe it was a venture thing. I might have had a venture part. I don't know. But all this was like rollover stuff from like, we kept the night, like
The good
the
stuff,
solid
yeah.
shit for that part. And everything else was just like a byproduct of being on trips, skating nonstop. And I could not believe the amount of like waves it made for me. It was really, it was kind of scary having like that sort of amount of eyes on you is like a weird thing. It's a weird thing when you think about it.
Yeah, but mind you, like you're like how I say, like how you would say, like go to refer back to the fly on the wall. Mind you, you're in the industry, but the whole like actually paying attention to your skating doesn't come till that 2021 push. It seemed like I knew it, I seen it, but that's like my job is to know like what's gonna happen and how much footage is about to come out and how special it is and what's going on. But people don't. This drops in, it's like, oh, okay, well, he is one of the best dudes actually doing this. Like, and you're living that. And then 2022 happens. Absolute bullshit out of nowhere.
Yeah, this is the weirdest, on like a fucking 8 stair or something. It was the randomest thing. My board kind of like javelined me and then broke my fucking, whatever this bone is, tibia, fibula.
Yeah.
And then it was like 7 months of just rehab and chilling. But it kind of came out of nowhere. But also, to be honest, at that point, it happening, I felt pretty burnt. I felt pretty.
It was a good wind down. It was a good wind down because, yeah.
I felt like, okay, 2021 happens and you just put it like really good. So everybody started to accept, or like, and I felt that, and I felt like I had this new badge on me. Like I just earned like this merit badge. Like, okay, you are one of the like people that can do this if he wants it type shit. And I felt really, I guess, satisfied with it. Like I felt really good about it. And it's not anything about like, bro, skate of the year is like fucking larger than life. Like I'm never going to sit here and be like, oh, I didn't, like, are you kidding me? But to be even noticed like that from Tony and all those dudes was like such a huge honor. And basically rolling into 2022, I was kind of smoked. I was like tired. I was hurting in ways. I just remember having tons of little injuries and stuff. And breaking my leg was like nice because I felt like people were demanding or expecting a lot of me 2022 because they saw what I could do in 2021, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of turned into like a good thing that I got to chill.
Like a good wind down because you pushed yourself past what most people was like, let me chill. Got the board, did the work, get to kind of reap the blessings. You know, some money's going to come in, bills will get paid. It's cool. But then you lose ADIDAS, right? You lose a couple things. That actually happens.
That was in 2021.
21. That was already happening. But I'm saying like you lost ADIDAS. So there's like a real wind down like occurring. You're skating CLICHE again for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I was. I think CLICHEs were the only shoes I wore after. I just bought some from a skate shop. I quit ADIDAS in what the fuck? When was it? It was October. No, it was earlier than that. It was like June. I quit in June, I think.
Okay.
And I just, yeah, dude, I just, they didn't have plans for me. They weren't, I don't know, they weren't like trying to present a contract to me. And it was to the point where I'd been kind of like fishing for answers for a while. And I kind of just was getting the runaround. And I just knew, I was like, if it's not happening now, then it's not happening. So,
But why did you believe
I
that,
knew.
Why did you believe that for that scenario, knowing that everything else you had dealt with 5 years prior? Like you had already went through this in 2017 of thinking of people trying to say like, if it doesn't happen now, it won't, you know. And then with
No,
them,
I just meant with them in particular,
I'm
and I
saying,
knew everybody thought
yeah,
there's like a stigma with when you wear shoes for a long time. People think you're taken care of to some degree,
yeah.
and I think a lot of people thought I was more than I was
I
over there.
hit you up and asked you what the fuck would happen. I think I
Yeah,
was like,
you would hit me up all the time asking me what you would tap in with me all the time when I was like in limbos with stuff, which
yeah, because I was
it's
like,
funny
what?
because you were always paying close attention. But um,
Yep.
yeah, I just I got to a point where I was really that was the fourth part that came out that year was this Flora episode
Yep.
with Poobert. It was a video part of me,
Yeah.
and that sent me to a point where I got really anxious and really broken in my head, and I knew if I wasn't getting on Adidas, I needed to quit because that part was basically an Adidas part, but I
Yeah.
wasn't seeing a dollar from these
These people,
people.
yeah, that have been
And
giving money to everyone around you. Everybody next to you in those vans had been seeing, or people thought, because there actually is a lot of guys that weren't seeing anything.
no,
That
yeah,
we
and it
came to find
happens
out.
with all brands. I'm not trying
Yeah,
to throw them under
exactly.
the bus. It happens with
100.
a lot of brands, but um, it was it really sent me to like a crazy place in my head because I was like, I was getting hit up from pros on Adidas, being like, I can't believe like that they're not doing this and that. I can't believe like there's notable people at the brand that were upset, and it made me more upset
Yeah.
because the part came out and it felt like a bad thing. How
I
much
hit
people
that
were.
brand up. I never told you this. I hit him up. I'm dead ass. Now ask questions. We're going to talk about it off camera. But yeah, I had to ask because I was like, because I seen some stuff. Like I had seen some footage already that was going to come out. But mind you, if you remember who won Skater of the Year that year, it's my guy too. You my guy.
Yep.
Don't get it twisted.
Mm-hmm.
You my guy.
Yeah, Mark won that year, right?
Yeah, goddamn right he did. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean not like that. No. And he's over there. So when I asked the people over there, because I don't rock with none of them people. Just my people's work there. All my people's work there. So I said, yo, why him from how he's skating? You know what I'm saying? Like I personally wanted you to be taken care of. I'm just like saying this because we're actually like getting deep in conversation. I never would reveal any of this, but I was like, yo, like what I saw, I hit people up. What the hell? And they were like X, Y, and Z. And I was like, God damn it. Okay. I get it. Shit. And
Yeah,
it
I mean,
only,
there's politics behind everything, and
yeah,
people
it sucks,
people
bro.
like people like it's not to anyone's maybe it is personal, but to most of the time it's like politically it's like, oh, you ride for this brand, or oh, you dress like this, or you don't dress like that, or you don't.
Yeah.
And it is weird. The things you represent can be conflicting with certain sponsors' images, and it's fine.
Yeah.
I kind of, to be honest, I was never really that into a sportswear brand like that. Like I never liked, like I never felt like I could rock that shit confidently because I don't dress like that. I'm not like in a tracksuit. I'm just not a sporty guy. I like
Exactly.
wore Adidas because I thought Dennis Buznitz was cool, and I thought Silas is cool, and
Yeah.
like those are like raw ass skaters. They're not
Yeah.
sportswear dudes, and
Exactly.
I don't know. That's the side of it I identified with, and also they took care of me for a really long time. So, I mean, respect to like holding me down. They held me down when Foy went to Australia. They paid for me to go to Australia on a
Yeah.
Skater of the Year trip. So they did hold me down in
And
instances where
took you on a bunch of trips like they have,
yeah, I got to
So
travel with those dudes, and
travel
it
nice
was
too.
cool,
Stay in nice places.
yeah, it was something that ran its course, and I knew I was at a point where I needed to make like big grown boy decisions. You know what I mean?
So
Like I had to make pro skater decisions.
so you make these grown decisions. You're wearing shoes that you're buying from a shop. 22
Yeah,
happens. You damn near take 22 off, right?
yeah.
Like
22 is a write out for me.
you just like I'm done. Like I'm a, like for sure. But later in the year and then early 23 is like a revamp.
Mm,
But then a shoe company pops up from this dude
yeah,
that your friends had recommended that you watch at this skate park when you were young. Because he's the absolute shit. He's the GOAT. This dude is about to start a company with a couple other guys called
ours. Yeah,
it was supposed to be like
ours is yours technically.
Yeah. So it's actually the sentence I thought you were gonna finish, But
Yeah. But it's funny because I've heard about the brand for so long. Like I remember Jamie telling us about it. He was like, "Oh, like these dudes at Baker are going to start a brand called Ours, like a shoe brand. Like fools are leaving their sponsors." And I remember hearing it through like little murmurs at Baker Boys sometimes. And he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, like just I heard all these things about it, and it, yeah,
it
I
didn't
think
feel real for so long when I first heard it, bro. That
yeah,
didn't
yeah. I'm
feel
sure you heard it before I even did.
it
You
was
probably heard
so
it like way back.
uncomfortable full. Like you're just like, they're gonna leave where to do what with who?
Yeah,
How? We all know that
yeah.
game is terrible, but then it's like, then you start looking at numbers and you hear about investments and you look and you're like, that makes sense.
I mean, fools know some people for sure.
Yeah.
They know some people. So.
They've been around for a long time.
Yeah, and I think I skated a Tampa Pro 20, maybe it was 2022 before I got hurt.
Yeah.
I skated at Tampa Pro, and then Dennis Martin hit me up, who's like Brian's partner, and he's doing like a lot of the brand management stuff.
Shout out
And
Dennis.
he hit me up and was like, "Yo, are you on LaCai? Are you doing this? Are you doing that?" And I was like, I'm just kind of floating, like I'm just wearing the shoes. And then he sort of proposed a deal to me, and I was like, I don't. This is such a crazy like shot in the dark because it didn't even exist yet.
Yeah,
And
it's like
I was,
yeah.
like they didn't. He showed me some samples of shoes and all this, and I was like, dude, this is like pretty cool and it's crazy. And like I was like, I want to talk to Bryan. That was like one of the first things I said was I was like, give me Bryan's number. I want to talk to Bryan. And I met Bryan a couple times through Shake Junt stuff.
Yeah.
So I just hit up Herm and I was like, yo, what's the beat with this for real? And he just explained, he broke down to me like, his contribution to it. Him and Dirty are partners, or Dennis. Everybody calls him Dirty Clips. They're partners, and they had this plan for 5-6 years. They've been brewing, and they wanted to have a skate team, and they just didn't know like who could be, I guess, like the pillar to start. And they were kind of like,
but when it first started, wasn't that supposed to be
me.
like Herman's luxury brand? Like he wanted to wear loafers and
yeah, it was Eric was in on it originally.
yes,
and Eric and him were doing
and they
this.
wanted to make a luxury brand. They were like, we're not gonna make skate shoes because Eric Elliott, people don't know, he be pulling up Gucci loafers. And he has for a long time. He be, hey, Eric Ellington, you feel me? He might got the dirty white pants, but that's a swaggy dude. So,
but I think the confusion people have is like Eric got that offer from that Chinese sportswear brand.
Ling.
And so when that happened, I guess that was when they had to break off because Eric couldn't be a part of a skate shoe company with that deal happening. So that was where Bryan and Dennis are like, okay, well, we're going to do skate shoes. So I think Eric still does the loafer stuff, like just like it's called like Human Recreational Services. Okay. So there was like a branch out.
That's the other hours. That's the other HRS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So there are two different things that exist, and they all have like ownership in. I think I don't know if Eric's in on like the skate stuff, but I think they're all in on the luxury stuff.
Together. They always together.
Yeah, they're all whatever. They're all business partners to some degree, but yeah, basically Eric taking that deal was when Eric broke out from the skate side of things. And Dennis and Brian still wanted to do skate shoes, and they were determined to do it, and they've been plotting on it for years. And so they explained to me how dedicated they were to it and how they just wanted to do, the shit their way. And I felt like it was an opportunity for me to be a part of a team, an opportunity for me to, make money. And I just saw it as an opportunity for me to grow and take a step that I've been wanting to take
Those big
for,
boy moves,
a long time. And
those big boy moves, man. You did it.
yeah, and it's super cool because I'm getting to like do things now I never thought prior to that would have been able to happen, like designing shoes and getting to put other homies on. Like I got to help Gage get on, and it's just cool being a part of something where it's just us, and it's not fucking. We're not going to these crazy places, staying in these crazy nice places all the time. But we're
one day
doing
you
what we can,
and if you stay dedicated and you stay down, bro, it can happen. It's all possible. We watch all our friends do it. Now, John, I'm gonna ask you this question right here: who is on your Mount Rushmore of skateboarding? Top 4, no more, no less. Only 4 guys who are on that list. All time.
Just people I'm a fan of, you think? Or how do
Top 4
people usually
all-time favorite skaters hit your mind? First 4 super goats.
Day one.
Makes sense.
Man. Fuck it. I mean, we'll go Foy just because he's like the best skater I've ever seen in my life. Brian Herman. Shit, man. Who else? Louis. We'll go Louis Barletta. Fuck it.
Wow,
That's it.
that is a super good list of those guys. Shout out to that Mount Rushmore. That is me 4 times. If you're wondering whose faces those were. Now, I want to ask. Yes, he finally no Costin in his top. I love that. Thank God. Finally. Shit.
Sorry, Eric.
It's all good. EK doesn't deserve anything else. Now, I want to ask you, if you have one, what is your favorite X Games moment of all time?
Dude, I was thinking about this earlier. So I was in the X Games Real Street like best trick thing they did during COVID.
Yeah.
It was like one trick submission, whatever. So they did like a live stream of it to find out who won. Like we all had to sit at our house and watch it on like a webcast. Like we didn't know who won until we watched it. But the judges were like Stevie Williams, Jamie Thomas, Burnett. But so the thing that's my favorite X Games moment was they get to Nyjah. Nyjah won it, and Nyjah was in it. And they're all basically talking about why Nyjah won and why his trick was better than everybody's or whatever. And Stevie Williams pops on the screen. And he's like, yeah, like, to be honest, like, Nyjah could have done anybody in the contest trick, any of them. And he was like, actually, except that one dude, Switch Yo Manny over the table. And I was like, yep. Thank you.
That's right. Ain't nobody doing that. Switch Yo Manny, switch flip out, right?
Yeah.
That was bar none. Yeah, Nyjah's not doing that. Sorry.
But that was like my favorite. I was like, I'm gonna take that to the grave.
There you
Stevie
go.
gave me that.
Now I'm gonna go ahead and give you these kind words before I get into these million bars. John, bro, we've been friends forever. I've been tapping in with you. I've been making sure that you have been okay with just mental battles or how you feel or anything you've been going through. You've lost some great friends. You've had some good moments. But the thing that's been my favorite about you is when I click onto your video parts, I literally get to be excited. I know something that doesn't make a lot of sense is about to appear on my screen, and I get to enjoy that. Skateboarding, I'm damn near desensitized for a lot of these guys, but you're in that group of people that I'm finally like, yo, thank God. Like, here's something else that I wasn't expecting to see. And it's always been like that. So I want to just literally commend you on being a miraculous piece of the skateboarding industry. And now You might not feel it. You're really humble. You're super quiet. You're to yourself. You're just good peoples. But bro, you skateboarding right now matters so much. Your skateboarding, every trick you've done, switch flip SF, just the list goes on, bro. And I appreciate that because I'm bored with these. I'm bored. All right. I'm tired. But to be honest, like on some real, bro, like thank you. That is like a real honest salute and thank you for the fact that you wanted to push yourself after you got that trophy, which is getting your name on that board. You did not want to relax. And you being a part of Jacuzzi, the new brand, you being a forefront for that, you being a forefront for ours, everything that is coming to you, you deserve, bro. Everything. Because it's like, if you think about it, Louis told you to go and picked you back up, and now y'all are together. Like everything that's happened to you literally happened for a reason because you stayed down and you never took yourself out. Never did. Even though you battled injuries, everything, you're here. Thank you. Appreciate you for real.
Thanks, dude. Fuck,
course,
you're gonna
brother.
make me cry on stream to
Don't
everybody.
cry. We gonna clip it. Don't cry. We gonna clip it. And I'm gonna use it.
Fuck,
That's the
man.
thing. I'm gonna use it. If I can make somebody cry with my kind words, that's gonna be what I put. I'm gonna hard post it too. I'm gonna tell my team to hard post it. He said hit the gritty, dirty farthead. I'm not hitting the gritty right now. But hold on, let me see. Do I got this beat? And tell me if y'all can hear it when y'all do, because I gotta rap about John Dilo's life. Because y'all don't really put nothing in the comments anymore. So I'm gonna just rap about Dilo's. That's what I'm gonna start doing with. I'm gonna start getting the episode. I'm gonna rap about it. Can y'all hear the beat? Yeah. Yeah. Shout out Dilo from FL. D Lorenzo. One day he gonna be probably sliding in that Enzo, that Benzo. Hey, he was with his friends though, chilling up in Long Beach, always with his kinfolk. Shout out Foy, getting that sody. Then he leveled up, got on a couple sponsors that was playing with his life, and he said, hey, yo, what the? Then he said, wait, take it on. I gotta be up. I'm about to go film. Get these clips, like, yo, check these tricks, like, oh, over this bar, man, yo, whoa, like Dane Wamba, and I'm like, whoa, oh yeah, D-Lo, he on go, hey, then he went pro. He's like, oh, I'm the man, doing what I can, nobody else can do it. Stevie Williams said it, not even Nigel. That's it. He said it on national television. Take that, bitch. I can't really say the words, hey, but you were great, hey. You really moved to the West Coast. Shout out to that boy Steak. Hey. And then you went to SD. Said I'm done with LA. I gotta focus on doing me. You came back. Now it's a wrap. This beat was kind of short, so I guess that's that. John Dilo. John Dilo. Yeah. That was hella short, D. That was like the shortest beat ever. We done talked for 2 hours. I got a minute 30-second beat. What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to rap about his whole life. I had to condense it. I was like looking at the time, like my time's running out. But dude, shout out to you. Shout out to everybody that joined. John Dilo, stay in this game, please. Go as hard as
We ain't going nowhere, dog.
I know. Like, it's literally just the start for you, bro. Literally, like all over again, and it's beast. Because Jacuzzi, man, I want to see that win so bad. I want to see ours win and everything. I want to watch you win. I want to watch you win. I want to watch you be there because you're one of those people that deserves it. So,
thanks, Gary. Thanks for having me. I mean,
of course.
Shit.
Thank you for coming
I feel
through.
like, yeah, dude. I feel like we've known each other forever. It's cool to be able to sit here and rap out about shit you probably didn't know, or maybe you knew all of it. Maybe you knew the whole time.
I didn't know a lot. I didn't know you was born in New York. I ain't never asked, but I never asked like, hey, where was you born? I was just like Florida. So that was new to me.
Yeah.
Everything else kind of had an idea. All right.
Yeah.
I'm doing my research. So, but
Yeah.
shout out to you, brother. All right. That is good night from another episode of Grind and Unwind every Tuesday, Thursday, 6 p.m. I'm out. Peace.